Peace be with you. I wanted to make a short video about a sin that most of us overlook, and most of us, including myself, are guilty of, and that sin is gossip. All of us enter into this sin far more than we realize we do. And I've been paying attention to myself, and I realize even though when I try to pay attention to it, I still fail so often. And it is such a difficult thing to master. So this is a very, very important topic, and people need to understand that it's a difficult thing to change, especially in the environment that we live in. We may see this as a small thing, but with God, it is a grievous thing. And if you consider yourself a Muslim, you need to know that. Even Christian. So I'll quote the Quran, but it's the same thing in the Bible. So God says in the Quran, and this is in chapter 49, verses 11 and 12. So Surah 49, 11th and 12th ayat. God says, "O you who believe, let not people laugh at other people. Perhaps they may be better than they. Nor women at other women. Perhaps they may be better than they. And do not look for fault in your own people." Or another translation is, and do not um, basically slander your own people. Um, and do not look for fault in your own people, nor call each other by nicknames. Evil is the name of disobedience after faith, and those who do not change, they are the unjust. O you who believe, avoid most assumptions, for surely in some cases assumptions are sin. And do not talk behind each other's back, nor spy on each other. Do you wish to eat the flesh of your dead brother? But no, you abhor it. And be careful of your duty to God. Surely God is acceptor of repentance and merciful. So this is the only verse that talks about gossip in the Quran. But it compares it to eating the flesh of your dead relatives. So you think about it, this is how disgusting this is to God. It is compared to something so we can understand how disgusting it is. It is compared to eating the flesh. Imagine somebody you love dies, and then you just go and you start ripping their flesh off and eating it. How disgusting of a thought that is, how repulsive of a thought that is. And that is how repulsive gossip is to God, and this is why this is so important. We commit this quite frequently. So, God tells us, "O you who believe, let don't let people laugh at each other." And basically, this encompasses men and women. I don't know why that specific wording is chosen, but it is clear that encompasses is talking about both men and women communities and so on. So we are not to, laugh at each other. And it's not just laughing. The word doesn't just mean laughing. It also means, being snide towards people and, saying bad things about them. And we all do that. All of us do that. Even me. I've been trying to be a Muslim for 10 years, and I catch myself doing that way more frequently than I want to admit. Thankfully, prayer helps me stop this sometimes, but it's still happening. So this is what jihad is. It's not fighting other people. It is actually fighting to change this one terrible characteristic that we have, and we constantly do. I do it all the time, and I'm not proud of it, and I'm fighting my jihad to change it. But people need to realize that this is how difficult this is, and that it's in there, and this is how vile it is. So don't think that you're better than other people. Don't be snide towards them. Don't be snide behind their backs. And then God says, don't call each other by nicknames. This is what we use kind of to make fun of each other, and they're never pleasant. We start as kids and we bully each other by calling each other by nicknames, and it's never pleasant. But whatever, people can accept it, object it, doesn't matter. It's what it says. And God says, evil is the word of disobedience after faith, and whoever hears this but does not change. So whoever read this in the Quran but does not change, they are the unjust. Zalimun. And then God says, "O you who believe, avoid most assumptions, for surely in some cases assumptions are sin." And this is a big, big one too, because a lot of times people will assume ill intent behind somebody's actions, and without realizing that all of us make mistakes. So when we make mistakes, we realize we made a mistake, we feel bad about it, and then we change or whatever. We forgive ourselves. But when somebody does that same injustice to us, we don't assume it's a mistake. We assume they did it on purpose because they're evil. You know, so we put evil intent on people when except when we do it, we don't put that same evil intent on us. And this is what assumptions do. You can't assume that people are doing something because they're evil. It's better to ask them, because they might just made a mistake. And that assumption sometimes prevents forgiveness, because we just think these people are so evil that we shouldn't forgive them, where it could have just been a mistake. So God says, avoid assumptions. Don't assume things about people. Don't assume things behind people's actions. But be more careful than that. Uh, and then God says, and don't talk back. Don't talk behind each other's back. And that goes back to gossip. This is what I was alluding to earlier. So God repeats that. Don't talk behind each other's back. This is terrible. Okay, and then he compares it to eating the flesh of your dead brother. So this is what God says about gossip, and this is how important this is. And you would think that this is a small topic, but to God it is as vile as eating the flesh of your dead brother. So people need to realize how important this is and apply themselves with all their might not to be like this, because it's not easy. It is very hard. And that's it. This is what Islam is. This is what Christianity is. This is at least what it should be. Christianity and Islam are not some magical end the world prophecy war. I'm gonna be cool because God says that I'm in the right group or whatever. All that garbage. People miss all the important things that God has revealed for some magical fairy tales about end of the world and whatever redemption that prophets are never quoted as saying. All of that stuff comes from a third source, a third party. Neither Prophet Jesus nor Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them both, said any of that end of world stuff that people tend to focus on. They all brought this simple stuff. So basically, what God says, and I'm gonna use term, for people who like people who I used to be like. Don't talk shit about people. Try very hard not to talk shit about people behind their back. Don't assume shit about people. That's how it is. And I say it this way for a particular demographic, because communication needs to be different for different people. You know, I used to talk like that, and I know there are people still that talk like that. And we all know when people talk smack about us behind our back or even to our face or call us names and stuff, that it's not right. So God says don't do it to others. And that's it. This is what Islam is. This is one of the more important things to know, because God says it is that disgusting to him. That's all.